The owner of the Houston Texans just sent a serious message to the rest of the team, as well as listing the expectations for this year. As we're going to give you all the details of what he said in a new interview right here on Texans Digest. Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Donovan Ricondo, and we appreciate all the love and support we've been getting over the past few days. And we're currently a bit away from our 2,000 subscriber mark, currently at 1,967. Again, if you want to stay up to date on all of the updates regarding your favorite team in the NFL, that is the Houston Texans, this is the channel for you. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button below. But for today, we're talking about a new interview done by a local Houston television channel with both Cal McNair and Hannah McNair, who was recently named the VP of the Texan Foundation. So congrats to her in her new position. But we're here to talk about what they said in that interview. And they started off that interview talking about the new offensive coordinator, Nick Caley, as well as the way he's been able to gel with DeMeco Ryans. They talked a little bit about the expectations for the season as well. I'm going to hit some CJ Stroud news to end this video, so you want to stay tuned for that as well. But about the Nick Caley, about the new offensive coordinator, he pretty much said that things are starting to gel really well in terms of pairing him up with DeMeco. It was something that was done throughout the entire interview process, right? DeMeco and Nick Caley weren't exactly, familiar with each other, probably knew of each other, but not, never had a close relationship. And so seeing them gel through the interview process and how things align, he really liked it, which is why he decided to go with Nick Caley. And he comments right now that both Nick and DeMeco are collaborating very, very well with each other right now. So it's good to see all that kind of play out in training camp. Obviously, we still got a long way to go in terms of how perfect these can align, how it turns out in actual football games that matter, not preseason games against the Vikings. But that is the first update. Things are going really well in terms of their collaboration of both from the offensive side, defensive side, and just make sure this team is as solid and sound as possible. Now, I want to get to somewhat of the quotes from said interview. We're going to start off with a quote from Hannah McNair discussing just kind of the brotherhood about this team. And she kind of prefaced it with the injury to Brevin Jordan and how everybody was kind of, rallying behind their fallen brother. And so she described the team like this, saying, quote, "It's a brotherhood, and you can see that. So that is really encouraging to see in the culture, and that is brought by DeMeco. DeMeco has that, and he set the tone for that entire group, and I love that feeling with all of them." And they went ahead and talked about how they were hanging out. I don't know if it was some kind of dinner or what it was. Everyone's playing cards. They're all playing Uno. The families are meeting each other. The McNairs are meeting all the families of the players. And so it really is truly a brotherhood as they're all starting to just kind of gel together in Houston. And so that is a very good thing to see. That's a sign of a very healthy team, of a team that's very, very caring for one another. And that is a great thing to have when you're essentially your health, your life is somewhat, in jeopardy out there on the football field, right? Who are the people that are going to be next to you that's going to make that block for you, that's going to make sure that you have a wide open hole to go ahead and score that touchdown? So it all starts here, and things like this that just makes this team closer and closer together. So that's a good thing to start off as well. As far as the expectation from Cal McNair, and something that he said that has me raising my eyebrows, because it is, when you analyze what he said, is a little bit like, oh, okay, why do you think this? And so we're going to go ahead and take you to that quote right now. Cal McNair saying this about this season, saying, quote, "It's a long season, one game at a time. Got to stay focused, but I think we got a shot at doing some things we haven't done before. And we're really excited about where we go this year." End quote. Now, some of this is just, I'm the owner. I'm going to hype up my team. I'm going to say, I'm not going to say my team's bad or like this is a very typical owner thing to say. I'm not discrediting that. But at the same time, when you say things like, we are going to do things we haven't done before, what exactly does that mean? Because if you ask me, that is a reference to winning, right? That is a reference to getting to a spot that we have not gone before in terms of the Houston Texans franchise. And as far as I'm aware, the Houston Texans, at least in recent memory, have not passed to the AFC championship, right? That has been the Achilles heel of this team. They've been good, they've been solid, but they cannot get to that AFC championship. And so when I see a quote that says, we're going to do things we haven't done before, and to me, that means winning. That means getting to an AFC championship. I don't know how much I buy into that right now, right? It's still very, very early. There's still some questions, though, about the offensive line. There's still some questions about the running back room with Joe Mixon being hurt right now and seeing how healthy he's going to be all season, and kind of the Nick Chubb and Woody Marks and Damian Pierce, who's going to kind of step up. There's still a lot of questions around this team that I am not sure if I can buy into the idea of reaching an AFC championship as the team is right now. New offensive coordinator, a lot of new things, a lot of new offensive tackles. And so that is something that concerns me as well. Now, could it happen? Do I want it to happen? Absolutely. I think an AFC championship this year would be absolutely amazing for a third-year player like CJ Stroud to finally get to that. Although he's only been in the years, a few years, still. It's still a huge accomplishment that I think he wants to shout out. I know he wants to set out in chief that I think he can make if things start to align, if of what Cal McNair is saying, if everybody kind of gelling together as of right now goes ahead and that becomes a pattern throughout the season. But there's still a lot of questions, and I just don't know how much I buy into that right now when you consider the level of competition that is in just the AFC. Forget the NFC. In just the AFC, it's like every team is stacked with an elite quarterback that is primed with the tools necessary for their respective teams to make a run in the playoffs. I'm talking the Chiefs. I'm talking the Ravens. I'm talking the Bills. If Cincinnati figures out what the heck to do on defense, that is going to be a very dangerous team, similar to their 2021 playoff run, or 2022 Super Bowl game. And so just those things in general it's a tough match. It's a tough AFC. It's a tough conference. And I haven't seen quite yet the steps that the Texans are going to make to be one of those good teams. And right, like I shouldn't see those steps because we're in the offseason. The season has not started, obviously. But at the same time, when I look at our team compared to other teams, there is still a lot of those questions that remain. And so when I see something like this, I hope he's right. I certainly hope so. But at the same time, I urge with caution. I proceed with caution. But on the flip side of this, we're here to talk about the CJ Stroud stuff that I wanted to get to, because a lot of this is going to fall on CJ Stroud, whether some of it is deserved, whether some of it is undeserved. The quarterback is the floor general, is the leader, is the captain of this team, and is going to take a lot of responsibility in terms of how good this team actually is. And according to a new report from The Athletic, CJ Stroud is one of the best quarterbacks, is one of the best people to make that happen for the Houston Texans. They recently did a survey, 6 GMs, 6 assistant GMs, 6 former GMs, 5 other execs, 8 head coaches, and 19 other coaches, including 15 coordinators, comprised of the NFL's 50-person panel. The goal was simple: tier every veteran QB in the NFL. And they did a little list. They made one for all the quarterbacks, all the veteran quarterbacks in the league. And tied for number 9 is CJ Stroud, tied with Super Bowl winning quarterback Jalen Hurts. And so saying that CJ Stroud is on this list and he has this respect and he has the talent to back up that respect on this list is a good sign for the Houston Texans. 2 years in the NFL, entering his 3rd year. I just hope that CJ Stroud has an O-line that can just give him some time. A lot of the people in this survey, they understood, right? Even us watching the games, right? CJ Stroud was flustered by just constant pressure of, when am I going to get hit? I have to get rid of this ball. If he can just get an offensive line that is not even like fantastic, just something that is like okay, average, just give him an average offensive line, I think we can see some numbers that were very similar to his rookie year, hopefully even a little bit better considering it's been 2 years since. But that is what's going to ride a lot on how good this team actually is that offensive line. And so when Cal McNair says we can do things that we haven't seen before, that could be a sign of just speaking to speak, or also that, okay, this offensive line has shown some flashes of being at least average, at least being some sort of good to give CJ Stroud a chance. Obviously, I think the defense is solid. I think the defense is absolutely amazing. There's really no uh, more updates in terms of how the defense. Yes, CJ Gardner Johnson was hurt, but he should make a return fairly soon. And so that is a good news if you were DeMeco Ryans, the head coach of this squad. And so when I consider all those things, yes, this is a very serious message. There are many things that can be done by the team, and so hopefully it does. It gets done, and that this team can actually reach those places that he has not gone before, and go to an AFC championship and win an AFC championship. That has been the killer for this team, just not being able to get past that divisional round. If we can do that, my goodness, that would be an absolutely amazing ordeal. But let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think the Houston Texans, as constructed right now, can make an AFC championship? If not, what do you think has to change? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear what you guys think. And until next time, I'm your host, Donovan Ricondo for Texans Digest. So long.